Hello, everybody, and welcome back to G Bears Off Gridways, a homestead in the desert. And today we're going to be playing with some electricity. Yeah, looking at this little unit right here. What is it? Well, it's a collector. No, not a tax collector. It's an electricity collector. I got my little voltmeter right here, and don't worry about him. He was going to be part of another experiment, but we're going to start off by turning the voltmeter on, and we're at 0 volts. So let's take the unit here. Now I want to explain quickly, because I've done this before in another video, that these three right here are capacitors. Okay, these 4 up here are capacitors. Then these little black things in between here, those are diodes. So a capacitor will actually store up electricity and release it as you need it. Now, diodes allow electricity to only flow in one direction. And the way I've set these diodes up in here is so that the electricity can only flow in this direction only. All right? So it's going to send anything that this thing collects, it's going to send it back to this point, which goes through the capacitor and it'll come out this wire. Excuse me if I'm a little shaky and stuff with the camera. I'm using a chest mount camera holder so that I have both hands free here. All right, so we're going to connect the ground on this side to the voltmeter. We'll set that right here. And we're going to connect the positive to this side. Come on. And we have no voltage. None. No voltage. Why? Well, just before I started this video, I shorted the circuit from positive to negative so I would discharge all the capacitors so there wouldn't be any power in it. And why would I do such a thing? Well, because we're going to take it outside. All right, now I want to also show you something. Keep an eye on the voltmeter gauge here as I head outside. We're inside the shipping container right now in my workshop. So we're going to head outside here and watch the voltmeter. Look, 0.01. Sorry about the shaking. 0.02. 0.03. 0.04. I'm getting out into the sun here. Look at this, 0.08 in the sunlight. Okay, we're picking up electricity out of the air. It's electricity, but it's actually radiation. Okay, now you can see that's going to flex around here in a minute from the different ways that I turn. We got up to 0.10, so I got 1/10 of a volt just holding this thing out here. 11, 12. Look at that. So we're going to come back over here to the table, and we're going to set my little collector down here. So this is basically what they call an electric antenna, or what I would call an electric antenna. All right? And you're looking here, and what are you seeing? Well, you're seeing 2 strips of LED lights. Okay, and they run, oh, they're probably a good 4 foot long, 2 of them. At that far end down there, I have the positive wire connected to the negative wire. That's called a series connection, when you connect positive to negative at one end of a unit. And then on the other end here, this has a little negative symbol right there, and this one has a little positive symbol. So they put a red wire on here, which is why I got these things so cheap in an electronics store, because it was mismarked. This should have been a white wire. All right, or a black wire. So anyway, this would be the positive, and this would be the negative. So let's take my little voltmeter here, and I'm going to connect the black to the negative terminal. And we're going to connect the red, if I can find it. Where are you? And there's red, and we're going to connect that to the positive terminal. Whoa, look at that. 1.56 volts. So that's coming from the LEDs. Each one of these is a light emitting diode, okay? And again, 1.5 volts out of 8 feet of LEDs. So they're working in reverse right now. They're collecting sun, and it's a hazy, overcast day, but they're collecting sun like a solar panel would, and they're producing electricity. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, I like it. So anyway, I could set up probably a group of those, getting 1.5 volts each. 1.5 volts is what you get out of a regular AA, AAA, or C size or D size battery for flashlights, things like that. So this two strips of LEDs equal one of those batteries. So if I connected a couple of those in series, I would have 3 volts, 5 volts, 6 volts, whatever I needed to run a flashlight light bulb. But that's kind of silly because these are LEDs. All I have to do is put a voltage through those and I would get power. All right, now my little collector here has been, let me get this out of the way, has been out here in the sun just for a couple of minutes now. So, remember, it was 0 inside. Let me see if I can get this connected. Come on. The wires are giving me a hard time. I'm all wired. Oh, come on, come on. Are we getting this? Let me set this thing down so I got a free hand here. All right, now we'll get this up into frame here. Clip it onto the negative, and already in that short period of time we've collected 0.08. So if I leave it out here for a while, I've had this thing up to 1/3 of a volt, 0.35, and all it has to do is sit out here in the open in the sunlight for a while, and it'll gather electricity. Now you'll see the electricity go down. The reason for that is I have a meter connected to it, and the meter is using electricity off of the circuit to run the meter. So let's disconnect that, and on another video I'll come back and I'll show you that after that's been sitting out in the sunlight here for a while, that it actually charges up to 1/3 of a volt. And that's pretty good. Now, I've done this in another video. You can catch this in my playlist of electrical experiments and stuff, and that's exactly where this video will end up, is in that same listing. And you'll be able to go back and look at it. And I think I named it way back when, collecting electricity out of thin air, or electricity out of thin air, something like that. Electricity out of thin air, I think, sounds right. So go into the different videos and check that out. There's some others in there that might interest you. But I just thought that this would be an interesting to do on the day after Christmas. Thanks for joining me, everybody. We got some great solar experiments and solar review things coming up, and we'll have some fun doing that. This is G Bear reminding you, thumbs ups way down over there. Share, subscribe, and of course, as always, comments and questions at the bottom. This is G Bear signing off.